Hey YouTube, Doug Wallman. I'm here today to read you some poetry. I stumbled upon a gentleman on YouTube. I've been listening intently to some stuff, and it wasn't about poetry as far as the topic goes, but at the end of one of these videos I was listening to, um, this gentleman I was listening to read a poem by David Tensen, and I just received this book just a few moments ago from Amazon. So you can find it on Amazon. It's called The Wrestle. And I hope it achieves focus there. But if my face is in the frame, my camera is going to focus on my face. So it's called The Wrestle, Poems of Divine Disappointment and Discovery. David Tensen. It's one more time in case that didn't take. So the poem I'm looking for is on page 140. And this is the poem I heard read, A Blessing for the Heart Journey. I believe it was read by Paul Young, the guy from The Shack. So I know some people, alarms are going to go off, but I guess I just gave that part away. Is it Paul M. Young? I may not have his name right. I wasn't actually planning on giving that piece of information away. I was going to keep that a secret, but I guess now that the cat's out of the bag. However, when I did open this book, and I will read A Blessing for the Heart Journey, but I did find this right away. Just opened up right to this page, a poem entitled Who Took Your Voice? And it's got 3 pieces to it. So it's about 3 pages long. So we'll read that. Actually, it's more like 4 pages long. We'll read that, Who Took Your Voice, and then after that, we will read A Blessing for the Heart Journey. So if you're up to it, I'll read you a little bit of poetry, but hopefully not too much. I only want to whet your appetite so that you'll want to go out and purchase this book yourself, so that way the author can also benefit. And yeah, I encourage you. I'll include a link in the description. But with no further ado, let's just begin on page 78. Who Took Your Voice? Piece 1. Maybe your no was not enough, and dominance pushed it aside like it was never there, and you learnt your words didn't matter. Maybe your silence was required, and coercion whispered its lie that secrets were safer, and you learnt, it says learnt, and you learnt that truth equaled pain. Maybe your story was cut short and shame covered your mouth to filter in the darkness, and you learnt to only be positive. Maybe now that you are safe, the older, stronger you can stand beside the little one inside and begin to ask, who took your voice? Maybe you were not created to have your boundaries crossed and your no dishonored. Maybe you were not created to hold all those secrets and all the pain. Maybe you were not created to tell a partial story in order to be entirely accepted. Who took your voice? Piece 2. Who took your voice with all its tone and volume? Yeah, who took it, right? I was going to have water here, but I decided I would be okay. Okay. Who took your voice? Piece 2. Who took your voice with all its tone and volume and beauty of pain and joy and expression of you? Who took your voice with all its color and silence and pauses of rhythm and pace and music of you? Who took your voice when you exhaled to show and tell of trauma and secret and treatment of you? Did it remain inside? Was it muffled outside, dismissed, minimized? Was it met with contempt by those with too much to lose and little to give? Come now, and one word at a time, like the healer, like the healed leper, it's time to take up your voice and talk. Let me read that last page one more time, because I need to do it a little more justice. Did it remain inside? Was it muffled outside, dismissed, minimized? Was it met with contempt by those with too much to lose and little to give? Come now, one word at a time. Like the healed leper, it's time to take up your voice and talk. So the poem that kind of caught my attention when I was hearing it on like a podcast style of YouTube video is called A Blessing for the Heart Journey. It's on page 140. And yes, I have my little cheat sheet here. I guess it's also on the first page. Is that right? Let me take a look. Because here's a little note here to make me think that. Maybe not. The note says, as a kind of bookend, I'd like to finish with the same blessing I opened with. Thank you for journeying with me. So somewhere here, he probably did begin. Yeah, he did. So it's also on page 6 and page 140. Well, which page do I want to read it from? We'll read it from page 6. A blessing for the heart journey. Today, fellow, I didn't start that off very well. I apologize. A blessing for the heart journey. Today, fellow fallers, recoverers, rescuers, winners, losers, famous and infamous, I bless you. The runners and the lame, the bankrupt and billionaires, the saints and sinners, the lost and lonely, I bless you. I bless you with knowing that the journey of 1,000 steps will be paved by potholes, sinkholes, assholes, and whatever it takes to make you whole, because you are human. I bless you with knowing that the invitation to face the world with an unveiled face may be done at your pace, or never at all, because it's an invitation. But know this, by love and choice, Trinity's unmasked face shines upon you and is gracious to you. Trinity lifts up their faces towards you and offers you peace, because you belong. Wow. Okay, so let me read just a couple more here. And this I somewhat found spontaneously. I didn't read it before, but I seen the title and I thought I might want to read that. So this is called Trinity Is on page 56. Trinity is union, a constant conversation, a becoming belonging, a covenantal choice, a joyful expression. Trinity is union. A pericosis. I've heard this word in my videos I've listened to, but I haven't tried to say it myself. Trinity is union. A pericosis of 3. That's actually a perichoresis of 3. Let me try it again. Trinity is union. A perichoresis of 3. A oneness of flow. A convergence of rivers. A swimmable source. Trinity is union, a bonded togetherness, an eternal alarming reminder, an invitation to echo its way on earth as it is in heaven. And we'll read perhaps just one more or two. So, page 57, Displace Darkness. Displace darkness. As he whispered, it resonated, not as a gentle breeze, but as a hurricane through my already turbulent soul. What else have you called me to do? I asked, expecting further instruction. Silence. That's it? Yes. But how? Come, follow me. And Let's see if I kind of pre-read just this. Literally, I skimmed over it super fast. It's like 7 seconds ago. We'll read control on the next page, 58 and 59, and then we'll let it go at that. Control. Remember, this is David Tensen. This isn't my work, but it'd be kind of cool if it was. I'm doing the reading of this work. Control. How on earth are you in control of everything on earth? Do you control seas and winds? Does he control my voice? Do you control seas and winds and poets and plagues? Do you control kings and wars and fires and fortune? Do you control love and hate and strength and sickness? I think not. Powerful you are, no doubt. And omnipotent enough to refrain from usurping a world you made powerful and wills you made free. That's pretty powerful. That goes a little bit in the face of God is in control. Well, I believe in the ultimate sense he is, but I wouldn't really try to argue the point he just made there, at least in some sense. I think he does intervene at times, but also I have to think about fatalism and how much I kind of buy into that or don't, or kind of some weird combo. But we're not here to talk theology, maybe not even philosophy so much, because that would just be a 50-gallon can of worms. I heard that expression from this guy named C. Kruger Baxter, and I thought that was funny. I think it was him. Actually, it's Dr. C. Baxter Kruger. Sorry, I got it backwards. So that's also another gentleman I've been listening a lot to. C. Kruger Baxter talks a lot about the Trinity and how the union between Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we've kind of lost that emphasis in the church, the love actually between them. We believe in one God, but it's a triune God, and I can't get into all that right now. We're going to end the video before I get tempted to try to delve into something. I've been trained and taught that my whole life, but it's still kind of a mystery, of course. But there's this union there that exists, and I think the whole idea, George MacDonald is also another person. Of course, that guy's been deceased now since probably the 1800s, I'm thinking. But maybe I'm not sure when he passed away. He might have passed away maybe in 1900s. I'm really not sure. But there's another key figure that I have stumbled upon. People have referenced his work and his theology. I'm not going to give away everything, but it's quite unique. It refocuses on God's love. And it's more a restorative act than what's that act? What's that other word called? Retributive? It's not as much retribution as we've been theologically trained to believe. And I think I'm buying into that it's not this whole retributive act, what Jesus did on the cross. And I'm not going to try to preach right now, but I'm just kind of, I'm trying to be like a normal human being, is kind of let you know what's up. And I don't think this is actually a new theology or something new. I think it's actually goes back quite a ways And actually, what's kind of new is this whole retributive thing. This is what these people are saying anyway. And I haven't went down the rabbit hole of this, quote unquote, rabbit hole. I think it's a lot more than that. I'm saying that kind of loosely. But for those of you who may think it's a rabbit hole, if you listen to the conversations, I gave you some key players, Paul Young, C. Kruger Baxter, and there's other players, and they will reference other people. It opens up from there. That last person I just mentioned, George MacDonald, there's just a whole different frame of a whole different frame of mind. Instead of sinners in the hands of an angry God, it's really God was in the hands of angry sinners. When you stop and read the Bible and the accounts therein, it really does reflect more like that than that famous sermon, sinners in the hand of an angry God. So, and I should give enough respect to the gentleman who did preach that. But honestly, I forgot his name, and I don't mean to be disrespectful by forgetting his name. That's not good, but honestly, I can't think of it right now. So, with no further ado, I guess I did let some stuff out of the bag in terms of what's important right now. Some of you don't even have to reframe your theology because you have none, and maybe that's for the best, really. I don't feel like this has been a real super quick change for me, actually. I've kind of been going down this road, but the thing with me is I'm not really that dogmatic. So it didn't really feel like a strong, all of a sudden impact. It's kind of taken a few years, and then I'd kind of just forget about it. And I revisited this whole concept just recently, and sometimes, I think in the past, I really didn't care one way or the other what people thought about how the Father's relationship is to the Son, And we know that Jesus did say, Father, why have you forsaken me? But there's a whole explanation for that. I won't get into that too much, other than to say that's truly probably how he felt. But there's this whole concept, I think that's been falsely portrayed, that the Father forsook Jesus in that moment or abandoned him. And I want that to be challenged in my own heart as well as yours. Now, what difference does it make? Well, I'll tell you, you're just going to have to, and I don't want to coerce you into listening to something, but just open your heart if you're not interested while you're listening up to this point, though. But if you can, at some point, you will be led into those conversations and into some exposure to the other side of that. And it's not, I don't want to equate it to just an equation or the other side of the argument. So what do we do next after this new realization? And that's actually the wrong question. It's just standing in relationship, and it's not so much figuring it out or what to do. You're going to have to listen to somebody else. I've exposed myself to this whole conversation. I'm not able to really give it adequately yet. It is pretty simple, actually. But I won't lie. I've been I don't know what makes it so hard for me to explain a simple concept. Is it all the religious training that I've been exposed to throughout the years? Is it just how I'm wired? Certain things are easy for me to explain. That one is a little more difficult because there's a lot of nuance, I guess, in the explanations given. But remember C. Kruger Baxter. I think that's an important name. C. Baxter Kruger, my bad. It's Dr. C. Baxter Kruger and Paul Young. And just put that into a YouTube search and see what you come up with. There's some awesome conversations. There's other names that'll come forward. there's a whole community of people with this, I wouldn't say new emerging beliefs, but it's kind of new for the Western church because we have this Western mentality of the gospel, and it's just been re-examined. And God didn't force this upon anybody. I think he let us fumble in our error, in our excited, exuberant, zealous error. And I don't know why the brakes weren't put on sooner, but God works the way he works, and that's the way it is. So why do we go through all this growth only in that almost incorrect way just to have to now adjust our sails and make all these adjustments in our thinking? It seems like that is the Christian life. Is we kind of go through maybe unnecessary, maybe unnecessary too. It just depends. Course of action. We grow from glory to glory, from strength to strength, but it doesn't seem like one, like a continuous flow that has a continuity. It seems a little bit like zigzaggedy lines, especially if you've been through some relationship issues and things like that. But God is good, and I'm not saying that within the cliche, hopefully. I guess I did. But when I do say that, I don't want it to be as a way to cover up for the questions that you may have, and we want those questions addressed. And I'm not saying I, as an influencer on YouTube, am able to necessarily pull that off, especially in one video. So it's all about the journey at this point. Oh, all right. Well, count your losses. If you listen this far, maybe I'll read this. I just felt led to read maybe a little bit more. Count your losses, page 19. You could start by counting your losses, knowing that what's gone is gone. It's important to let that happen before you move on, like exhaling before you inhale again. Otherwise, your lungs may explode. Long ago, they burnt things or buried them, allowing them to return to creation. Long ago, we weren't so possessive. Life and its furnishings were temporal and on loan from the gods, kind of like those toys you used to borrow from the library. They all went back in the box, ready for the next kid. So you could start by counting your losses, allowing them to find their place in the earth and sky of your heart, filling the air with scent and the ground with strength for the journey ahead. And it's normal to miss the moments, to miss the people and seasons. It's normal to cry and let the salt water fall to the edges of your mouth. Some things, tough things, horrible things may need holding again for a moment. You know what I mean, the pains you stuffed in your pockets and have been walking with for too long. Once they were told too much to hold. Once they were too much to hold, but something told you you weren't ready to part ways. When you are ready, reach down by your side, find these things, and finish your conversation. Say your piece, give them back. No one who lives fully lives light for long. Let me read that again. No one who lives fully lives light for long. Every moment, day, and season beckons us to hold on. For life is dear, costly, and thrilling. And after you've counted your losses, let's go. Exhale. Return borrowed goods. Say your piece. Maybe now you can cross the threshold into new beginnings, Still you, but lighter for a moment. Still you, but lighter for a moment. Wow. Eternity really is union. All right. Well, I'm going to let that be the end of my video. We are closing now, for real this time. So I hope you enjoyed. Do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I do want to give credit to where credit is due. That was David Tensen from his book of poetry entitled The Wrestle. Probably still not focused. The Wrestle, Poems of Divine Disappointment and Discovery. I'll say. So here's a word by the Paul Young. These words whisper transcendent rumors hidden in the viscera of humanity, lyrics of longing to be gratefully shared. Paul Young, author of The Shack. David's poetry is honest and hopeful, fierce and fragile. Steve Austin, author of Catching Your Breath. David has given us a prophetic psalter, a propos, I don't know how to say the word, for these swirling times, a warm fire and bright light. Bradley Jerzak, author of A More Christ-Like God. All right, so I know people may have various opinions on the controversy around maybe some of those people, but I've come to be more open to it. I'm not even really that skeptical, to be honest. I always want to be cautious. And I still am cautious, but I think I'm a little bit more than cautiously optimistic. I think right now, I think I'd be a little more cautious of the religious spirit or the religious mindset that's kind of stagnated the church and sometimes tried to revive it as well. But maybe we even had good results. It wasn't like it was a bad thing per se, but I think we've had those moments. They served their purpose, and now it's truly time to move on. So with that, I do realize God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, but we're not getting into any theological debate right now. I did have that thought, and it wasn't a rebuke. It was just on the goodness of God. And perhaps we're the ones who have changed the message. That's something to think about. So I don't actually expect a whole lot of pushback on this video, but if there is, so be it. I'm actually not expecting it. I don't tend to think my videos are actually in the sphere of controversy so much, or debate, or people trying to duke it out, or use chess moves or strategy to, like debate theologically or from a place of intellect. It's not where I want to go. I just want your heart to be touched. I mean, I don't want you to lose your mind, but really that's what C. Baxter said that's happened to us is we've lost our mind. And he says it kind of in a playful way, just by virtue of what we've lost in kind of our Midwestern mentality or Western mentality, maybe especially the Midwest, I don't know. But I've tried to end this video and I just keep on talking. So it is time to end it. Like I said before, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you've enjoyed my rambling conversation, and we will see you in the next video. See, I can end the video. And my plant lights just went out just that moment ago, but I don't think it's impacting the lights here. But you may have seen a slight change in light. Yes, I just transplanted that watermelon peperomia into a new pot. That I did not show on video. I wanted to, but it just needed to get done. However, I did show in video me repotting my dumb cane. I don't remember the scientific name right now. If you're interested in that, go ahead and take a look at some of my other videos. All right? I truly am going to end it. I promise this is it. Thank you. Thanks for watching.